Welcome to Loleventvods. Watch the full game from EMEA Masters, Winter 2025.
When Mahonic said it was quite a roller coaster, even in the graphic. What do you feel like for now at this moment?
It's so difficult to describe because like a couple of those players, most notably Nemesis, Crowny, and Reckless, of course, they have played in LEC, they've gone to Worlds even, they've played finals, and I've been such a big fan of some of these players before I became a caster, but just as a viewer, and now you see them play in NLC, they've dominated that competition, they go to EMEA Master, and it's just different. They're now once again being tested by players who are also ex-LEC players or rookies that might be able to push through in the next upcoming seasons. So now that their waters are actually being tested, it is such a different view, and you wouldn't necessarily expect from these veteran players to like have nerves when you've literally played World Championship finals. But I also see why it can be different, since for some of these players it has been a couple of splits since they've played competitive, and they also don't really want to damage their image that much, that you went from big LEC superstar to someone losing an EMEA Master. Which is also still an accomplishment, but it doesn't really add up to what you've already accomplished beforehand. So I do kind of see it. I'm not necessarily disappointed, but it does give you like a mixture of feelings like, oh yes, these players used to be so good, and now they are once again needing to adjust themselves.
Speaking of... Yeah, Mahonix?
Yeah, I will say to that, I think Reckless did have a really good performance on that Brown. And I think he's like the most decorated player out of the bunch of Los Ratones. So I think, you know, they have some things that are still going for them. And in Velia, you know, he also performed. So I think Los Ratones, they still have a very good shot of taking down the series.
And also, like you guys said, right, it might be more about the scaling of their composition than maybe perhaps the way they played that game. Of course, KCB had some very important picks during that late game, but that was all in game one. Right now, we're already preparing for the second game, and we see for the second time thus far that the Baus is being targeted, right? We notice that Gragas is gone, Sign as well, so a lot of those important picks that he likes to play in the top lane are off the table at this point in time. Right now, we see quite some tempo inside the jungle. Isma just picked Nidalee for their team, of course, which could be quite a threat if you want to play a bit more slowly, because Nidalee is always there to maybe see SIM if she can maybe pick out some of those camps that you want to have.
It is interesting to see Isma pick up this champion, because we've seen him as the classic setup guy for Karmine Corp thus far. We have seen his Nidalee already in the LEC season when he was playing for SK, and even though his early game was really, really great, just like we basically saw Velia play on Viego, that didn't necessarily result into a win. And if we were talking about scaling timers beforehand as well, we now see a switch of the playbook where it's Karmine Corp picking a composition where they are on a timer and really want to snowball a game, finish it as fast as possible because they might be outskilled. And there are now more scaling opportunities for Los Ratones to pick up, even though the Tristana is locked in. But, you know, Tristana still gains range per level, so there might be an argument to be made that the scaling factor is now on the side of Los Ratones, which is favorable to them because that's just the kind of team that I vibe with. When I think of Los Ratones, they like to scale, make some oopsies in macro, but always come back to fundamentals.
I also noticed Mahonix has his hands in a position like he's trying to make a really good point. Like, go ahead, man.
I am suspicious, and so is KCB, because what's going on is Los Ratones have chosen Nautilus, and Nautilus, one pick Nautilus when Braum is out, it's fine, you can do that, but it's not necessarily the best Nautilus angle on support. However, they have shown that they are willing to flex the Nautilus. So KCB, they, I guess, came prepared. They are already banning Alistar, Jenna. They know as well that Nautilus might be support. So even though the draft might look somewhat standard, I think there's already a lot going on.
Wait, so they're trying to narrowing down the support options that are still available because they want to force Nautilus back to that support role again?
Could be, because I mean that's the power of a flex pick, right? They are now banning supports, while Los Ratones picked supports already.
Yeah, but I could flex to be like, to which line do you flex it? I just noticed some chat said it might go to Baus in top lane. So where do you bring in the Nautilus?
I mean, it is a mid-top support flex, I think. In the jungle, it has not seen that much popularity. I think he will like have that unending despair Winter's approach build still. So yeah, the Nautilus, it can go anywhere, and we're gonna see it on 4 or 5 what they choose. If I have to make a suspicion, think it's gonna go towards mid lane.
That would be creative. In the meantime, SIM, we just noticed a few picks coming in. It's also Ash right now, being one of the AD carries for KCB. It still looks like there's a bit of a hovering phase going on the left side of your screen for Lost Ratones. I know, speaking about hovers, especially with Fearless Draft, it's just one big risk, but Sivir seems to be locked in aside Lulu. And it seems it's exactly the Nautilus on the mid lane.
Not exactly yet.
I wouldn't say that the Nautilus.
Oh, it could be. I'm sorry. You're right. It could be. It could be. Assumptions.
You want to make the suggestion that Nemesis will pick up Lulu for mid lane then, I'd say? Or do you think that Lulu would be played by Baus on top? Because I haven't seen Baus play a lot of enchanters, and I don't really feel like he was very keen on champions like Karma to pick up as well. So if I see a range support on mid lane, then I'd be less surprised than the other way around.
Well, I like what you're thinking. However, it could also be Tristana top lane or something. So I think we're gonna have to wait 30 seconds until it's actually
Where are they going, man? Give us a clue. Give us a hint.
I feel like this would probably be the most logical thing for Lost Ratones Draft to stay alive, or like for it to stay alive. So yeah,
exactly.
That is Nautilus top versus an Aatrox out of all champions.
Yeah, exactly true. So right now we see all those 10 champions. Keep in mind, KCB just won the first game, so they only need to win one more to go towards the playoffs bracket. And for Lost Ratones, they are, with their backs against the wall in this series, there's still only 0 games on the board for them. So with this composition, they need to do it. All right, guys, just like the last game, it's time for some predictions before we throw it back towards the casters. SIM, who do you feel like is going to take the second game of today?
We're once again going to get a 50-minute banger. Lost Ratones will skill out of their minds, but Karmine Corp, if they get ahead early, this might be a difficult one.
Who's gonna get it? Who's gonna grab the win?
Lost Ratones, of course.
Lost Ratones. All right, Mahonix.
KCB, I think Isma might smurf it on the Lily.
All right, thank you so much, guys. KCB is one step closer towards the playoffs. And the last game, it was such a roller coaster. We can't wait to see how both teams feel in the next game with Temporal and J-Real.
Hello everyone and welcome. J-Real's just sorting his microphone out, but we are back for game 2. We've traded out Duckling. He's done us a great favor. Jay, it's Discord, buddy. Just hit the mute button. And we are on to the Rift for game number 2.
Yeah, it's not EMEA Masters without, a mute. But we're here. We're back. We're here for more Lost Ratones. I'm now here taking over from Duckling to give it the English flair. Maybe that's what Lost Ratones were missing. They were missing the double English casting on this stream to potentially pick up that win. But Temporal, they've been to 50 minutes a couple of times. Game 2 yesterday didn't take that long.
No, that's true. We got better as things go on, and I hate to betray you, Jay, but there's something you need to know about me. We're both very British, very English.
Oh no, well, kind of.
Je parle français. My French isn't excellent, but I see you, Twitch chat. I can talk that too. Nemesis at risk here, Ensa over the wall waiting, lurking as level 1. There were some shenanigans last game, not a big one, but something. This time,
but something is happening now, right? And yeah, smart from Lost Ratones, they'll see this. They had the ward.
Yeah, they're going to go for the same one. They want to see Velia off the chickens, as they did last game, and they'll also clear out their own spot. Enter and Exa will come in pretty acute into this bottom lane, pretty strict. And is it going to be fine, I think, in this 2v2?
Yeah, and again, it's going to be spotted out, right? Like, they will see this coming. They're very much aware of how this is going to play out. They should be aware of that Nidalee as well, so make sure they don't push out too far too fast and get caught in the back. But realistically, we already see that Velia is making moves into the top side too, so they're just splitting open the map. But I will say, with the power of the bot lane and that mid lane, Velia needs to get down there at some point.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. We're going to see a different game from the Viego to the Maokai. We're going to see that support. Looking down the composition from the Rats, it doesn't take a giga brain to see it is going to be Crownie and Nemesis versus the world. They're going to have the target access, they're going to have the defense, they're going to have the setup, they're going to have the lockdown, but they got to provide the damage themselves.
And interestingly, Velia will get the level 3 off of all the camps on the top side, but we're not going to see the same from Isma, right? They left the camp up in the bot lane. A little bit of trading is going to occur. I'm not going to like, you're talking about Nemesis and Crownie versus the world. It does feel like that. Are we maybe a little bit concerned about that, given the burst potential and the pick potential from KCB?
Yeah, and it's also sort of a non-committal. If Nidalee, even if she gets outscaled slightly, a decent spear onto one of those two champions that doesn't go shielded, that doesn't go body block, does start to invite a little bit of chaos. And then if you do end up deep in a fight, if the Aatrox manages to get on top of either of the carries, things will go south very fast.
Well, obviously a lot of game ready to play before then. Getting to that 3-minute 30 mark, right? Skullcrabs are going to be spawning. Damn, I didn't realize we were going to get told that Maokai took their blue buff, but it's on the screen, and I quite like it. Baus, though, in a fight into the top side, is a level down, so should just walk this one out. And Northern's top, you know, Baus is known for playing a lot of random stuff. Definitely one that I can imagine playing, but I feel like not seen super often.
It was more of a release thing, because you had so many less restrictions on the E, on the W. Apparently engaged upon
talking about restrictions, getting knocked up there, plus the slows. Shields do come in, but
the spear.
A lot of damage. The spear, good flash from Crownie will keep him alive. But how long do they wait? Getting pincered now behind the tower. Another dodge. Crownie just trying to survive. The shield's going to keep them up for a little bit longer, but Isma takes the kill, and Reckless may not be able to get out of this one either. Flashes away to stay alive, and Velia will finally come through to push them out of the middle of that lane. But, you know, it's a nice early play from KCB getting ahead.
Yeah, it's the advantage they're going to need with this composition. They have to sort of play on the drumbeat every opportunity. They've got to try and get something out of it. Else they may find themselves up against a very, very long-range Nemesis and Crownie duo. If there was anyone I was going to trust to play Civic, you know, it's got to be Crownshaw and Reckless together. I don't think there is more combined knowledge on the champion still active in professional League of Legends. And unfortunately, not the strongest in the dive. Ashe, really good just in lane in general. And then Isma there to capitalize right on time. They could go for another dive once Isma has re-cleared their top camps and started to get through their own jungle. We'll have to see if they manage to line up the timing as Crownie was head to the base.
It looks plausible to even go top, right? Baus is quite low. Mainta slowly pushing him in. The Nidalee's coming up top. They may not even need the Nidalee. One more bit of damage will do it. Baus in big trouble. Isma just needs to hope that the shield isn't up, really. The recall coming in, but I don't know if you got the time. The spears are going to stop him back. And Temporo, it's time for the tower dive. And Baus is going to stay alive for a little bit longer. Now with the team here, this could be a turnaround. The flash out. Here comes the Siva. And Isma has been cooked. Jebaited.
The juiciest of bait under that top lane tower, but there is no morsel, there is no oyster within the clamshell of Baus's armor. It was all bait. Crownie and Reckless initiate the swap, managed to get up and disrupt Mainta and Isma coming under this tower. Does mean the dragon should be going over in fair order to KCB. We'll see if the Ashe on her own can evade Baus and keep that river in their priority.
There's a slight bronze brain moment for me where I was like, oh, maybe they can get this dive on the Aatrox. I think the level 6 Aatrox would be too far, right? It's an easy way to give 3 kills over to Mainta, and I feel like it's best they avoid it.
If you're looking at the Maokai as well, who will just be so close to triggering every sweet spot, it's a bit too difficult. You'd like to give it a go. You want to get the World Ender out. Not a bad thing at all. But, you know, yeah, committing to the full thing, very dangerous.
Yeah, but I do like this. They've got the TP, they've got pressure, they've got a couple of plates, right? They're building themselves back into this game after that early deficit. Yeah. And it is starting to pay out for them, right? Exit, however, is getting solo XP as they're slowly taking that dragon. So again, advantages are going to be going over to KCB slightly, but the grubs will be nicely traded by LR.
Yeah, we don't have sort of a super grubs user outside of the Tristana in this game. So I love the Rats once again getting the first 3. I'd like to see them come back for the second 3, though. In the first game, they gave that over in return for a dragon. We went to 5 dragons taken, and then finally the Mountain Soul, and then you probably saw, Jay, 3 Elder Dragons to close that one out. Just a few dragons last game. So we'll see how many. I thought
League was supposed to be ending faster this season. You know, 3 Elder Dragons tells me otherwise. Eastman now on the invade. It is going to be a support versus jungle matchup here. Obviously, nearly known for a lot of damage. Velia can definitely dish out some of their own. The Ashe are going to go slightly wide. Lost Ratones, they are going to hold on to this jungle, but they might be going too far deep. 4 members in. Velia in trouble, going to flash away. Does get over the wall, but Exa chasing them down. The slows are there, and Maokai will finally fall down. Baus trying to help his teammate, but will just have to run back on the tower.
Yeah, it's a shame. Slowq Valkyried over the wall there, managed to get out. Nemesis and Baus not able to reinforce, and with it, Lost Ratones just a little too forced, just a little too eager to maintain their own red buff. Given that, you know, there isn't that huge a gap between the junglers, 2 kills. The only real difference here, looking at that gold comparison between Isma and Velia, probably have just let that one go.
Yeah, and there is a bit of a CS lead, you know, in that top and in that bot lane here. So both KCB's extremity lanes are starting to pick up a bit of momentum. Overall, the gold seems pretty close due to tower plating, but, you know, it's definitely one to watch out for temporal.
The plates will be a big deal. That's just gonna mess with Ensa here.
Oh my days, Ensa taking so much damage here. Baus might have gone a little bit too far here. The slows are going to come in from Exa. Baus once again forced to walk back, but you know what? Ensa is close to death here.
Yeah, they really should have based there, and Baus might not have the aftershock, so he doesn't have that sort of last bit of the health pool to really try and challenge a 1v1 here. But I think that's success in its own way. You can't kill him if everyone's low and no one wants to take a fight, and a Nautilus getting out of lane will be really happy with that.
Now, we've had the bot lane go up top. They're staying there for the moment, right? It might make sense for them to keep them there when we go for the grubs. Like you said, go for the grubs for Lost Ratones. You know, let KCB have that second dragon. But how are we trying to move through the mid game, right? Because obviously, when we talk about scaling, like Tristana will be great. So will Sivir. Obviously, a few members from KCB as well, also going to be pretty strong. But is the mid game playable given the fact that Ashe is so good at the pick, even though Crownie is so good at spell shielding it?
He's reacted well to it so far. I think we're going to have an issue, and that you want to just let the Tristana maximize XP. That looks like going to the side lanes. We'll see if Nemesis opts for that, or whether she just gets parked in mid lane, and whether Baus is sent out to farm. Last game, as soon as Baus wasn't able to stand up in the 1v1, because the Poppy will never beat the Jax at level 18, things started to go a bit awry, and assignments started to get a bit rough. They only kind of held on so long because Slow Q was so strong, but had to spend so much time in sides where he didn't really want to be. Wanted to be, you know, part of the initiation, part of the team fight control. The assignments are going to be a big deal. Depends how fast Lost Ratones get out of these lanes.
Okay, well, slow queue can take a bit of damage, and it is going to be quite a slow queued game at the moment, as we're just seeing the farming go through. We're just going through the rotations. Bot lane now has been put onto the top side for KCB as well, so interesting how that's going to match up around those grubs, as once again we see Isma going for an invade, and Baus putting himself in an awful situation. Mainta almost finding the kill shot, but we'll get some tower plating time.
Yeah, just a touch. Maybe the teleport out from Baus, we'll see. He's got the symbiotic shoes to get back quickly, and it will be the teleport to get back out. Again, Grub's up in 10 seconds, so using the teleport here, not ideal, but it looks like he's going to try and hold Mainta and delay the base once again, meaning it's more of a fair fight on the top side. Ooh, Crownie and Reckless will have to burn heal, but Nemesis is out of lane.
Yeah, but the grubs now have been started. Isma able to chunk them down, and should just be able to get free claim of this objective. So not going to allow Lost Ratones those 6 grubs, and SoQ putting that pressure onto Nemesis once again, almost getting the kill. Nemesis has to flash, and all around the map it's going KC's way, which is not good for the NLC fans right now. Baus also in some trouble, will be able to stop Mainta from getting anywhere near close to him. But at the moment, we need a little bit of success for the NLC, as Enter finding a bit of a target here. There goes the Nidalee, and goodbye to Reckless.
Didn't manage to body block the Ashe Arrow, both taking it to heart there. A real shame. KCB pushing that one forwards. We'll continue on to Velia.
Happening again.
Oh!
Velia just completely obliterated. I don't know what the Maokai thought, and Bowser, I don't know where you're going. Kills are being gifted over to Karmine, and Temporal, I hate to say it, but it's starting to get a little out of control for Lost Ratones.
Did you spot the memes yesterday, Jay, of Mark Cadrell Lamont, 28 years old, and that's him like aged up to 60 with all the stress from the series yesterday? And that wasn't up against KCB. So Cadrell, if you're out there, if you're watching, we get it. It's going to be like into your 60s after this. But it's not the end. There is another series to qualify. You'll be up against the third place, the Prime League team, whose name is just off my sheet. I think it's not Eins, but it is INW.
Well,
anyway,
way,
up against the Prime League team.
Crownie might be, because Wild Growth having to be utilized. Hexa backing away there was a little bit interesting. So Crownie's actually going to stay alive. But all in all, right, it is definitely not looking good. I will say, Ratones, if they can get to those later stages, right? There is a world where they can scale enough. We've all seen what Sivir can do 3 items. We know how Tristana gets.
Yeah, for sure. Both with the new Yuntal arrows as well. The crit, so we're not even like conditionally doing bits of AD. It's just maximum damage the game allows. Crownie using the barrier to secure the back there. The shielded damage does not cancel the recall. Won't be here in time for this dragon, but will be here to either defend their jungle or stand up in lane, collect a bit more gold. With that in mind, this is kind of a mirror image of last game. KC Blue went about 2k down after the first fight that really didn't go their way. First struggle. We'll have to see if Lots of Ratones can take on that role of late game resilience in a difficult position, and whether they can make it work as the twisted advances forward.
It looks good. It looks good so far. Ensa is caught out and completely removed. Velia picks up the kill, though. That's not what they wanted to see, but it's a good question, Temple, right? Because we didn't get to see Los Ratones, you know, really push domestically. They weren't behind pretty much ever unless they had kind of put themselves there. And it's a sentiment where finally getting to see how they play with that pressure is going to be really interesting and telling about their chances in this tournament. As right now, it does seem like they've had a bit of a second win. The life is being breathed into them as Baus in a bit of trouble maybe, but the tower might do enough to force Meta away.
Yeah, we'll get him off the kill for now. No teleport back out for Baus. He will have the shield, so Manta can't go for the kill under the tower. No extra steps to be taken. I like how Baus has managed to nullify the 1 versus 1 here. I think 10 CS down against an Aatrox in this matchup is pretty good. Trading ult for ult, nice and respectful. And most damage done in the game. Damn. Not bad at all.
Damn.
Those crashing waves, they add up. Yeah, they add up real well.
And that will be the boots secured there by KCB, so they will be able to get the feat of strength. And right now, Los Ratones, they need to be careful. This has been a play that's happened before. KCB once again 4 in the jungle, looking for a pick around the buff. And respectfully, Ratones back away.
Look at all of those wards in that blue quadrant. 2 on the blue buff, 2 on the entryway. That is for Manta to teleport to. Nemesis not with a matching summoner spell. Rift Herald coming up in 50 seconds. KC have already set their sights on this. Will be the Karmine Corp. Rift Herald, no doubt.
Oh no. Oh no.
Baus. Oh, Baus.
Goodbye. Goodbye, Baus. The tower's going to go down, and so will the Nautilus. Can he take one with him? The answer is no.
That's a real struggle. Nemesis might be able to continue to push this lane. Velia's here as well, but the minion wave will be extinguished before anyone arrives. So despite 4 people coming, this is still a pretty elongated dive.
Oh, they're forcing pretty hard. The lockdown is there, the slows, but where's the damage? It's Reckless and Velia, like they're doing a little bit, but against Manta has the World Ender, gonna force them both away, use the ultimates. Yes, they'll get the tower, but can they get out? Manta's now on the chase, although may have gone a little bit far here. 4 members are deep, they're moving forward, but there's the Aatrox. The World Ender comes down, 2 dead. Los Ratones did not calculate the play the way they thought it was going to be. Nemesis falls as well, and KCB says you don't belong here.
And going a little too fast, a little too early. It was an overforce dive, the 4. They do manage to push Manta out, but they didn't get a summoner spell. They do eventually get the ultimate, but at such a high cost. Los Ratones need to go later with the composition. They need to get the Sivir and the Tristana into position. If you take fight too close, if you let the Aatrox get the approach, it is too much to deal with. That was example 1. And to not have it happen again, Los Ratones have got to slow right down.
But they're running out of options. I hate to say it so early on, but it feels like they're starting to run out of options to slow it down in itself, right? Because the Rel can go for those engages. Ashe with the pick potential from the arrow, right? The dash in from both Slow Q and also Manta, right? It's available. They're ready to put the pressure on to Los Ratones. And if Los Ratones can't hold out themselves, Temporal, then I don't really know how they're going to stop this steamroller from going all the way over their pavement.
The main sort of recompense in my mind is that this is about as bad as it got last game, and I feel similarly about the compositions. The lead stretched to 5,000 gold exactly for the rats, and then eventually multiple dragons in, Elder spawning was enough to get the later game team composition into an advantageous position.
Oh, Nemesis stunned immediately. Nice. Wildcard will give them the space, gets the kill, and that's the ticket they need back into the game.
That's a little bit of a much needed gold injection. 600 gold straight over into Crownie. That wild growth was nice. Reckless is absolutely not to enter mid-air and holds the Rel at bay. No saving the Ashe.
No saving the Ashe. And we need a few more of those. A few more picks, build themselves back into the game, maybe even around this dragon, right? 8 seconds up. They're a man advantage in the lead. Maybe they can take this off the map.
It is just a Cloud Dragon. With the sort of opportunity of all that move speed, being able to contribute to these two carries, being evasive, staying away from the threat.
Oh, it's been locked down. It's been locked down. In trouble. Could be caught out here, but able to get over the wall. However, on the flip side of this fight, Vows low. Slow Q having to walk away, though. Ratones not losing any members, but not picking up any either. And that mid tower going down to the Herald.
I think that's okay for Lost Returns. They are going to get
Isma gets killed. Nemesis with a nice pick up there, and will be able to get away as well. So, kill plus Dragon for the tower. Is it worth?
I think with the Herald going down as well, I think they've kind of already paid that debt. And just realizing it now, coming to truth. I'm most interested in the way the gold leads are going to pan out. We're still even on bot lane, and pretty even on mid. Next fight, let's see who's managed to accrue more gold by then in these assignments. Because currently, that Aatrox is taking a beating.
He is indeed. Baus able to win a lot of these fights when Mainta doesn't have that ultimate. You know, World Ender obviously making it quite a bit more difficult if you don't have high burst. But at the moment, right now, KCB, I'm surprised they're grouping so much together. I would have thought SlowQ would have just taken up a free lane, maybe someone go top, because at the moment, it looks like Nemesis is going to get a completely free push on this tier 1.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. That's the sort of thing we're looking for. Just the little assignments, keeping people away, holding a Karmine Corp that is so far ahead, just at arm's length. Gold lead, already nearly half of its biggest state. With that in mind, it's just slowly keeping everything safe. Otacon will be coming up right now in the bottom lane. Don't think it's going to be a big rush for either of the teams. Is that both approaches are pretty good. Your defense of being approached, less fantastic. It's generally the other way around to what we see in most pro leagues, but we don't have huge tanks who can stand up to that here. Arguably, can be the Nautilus, can be the Maokai, but not in a game where the gold is pretty even and the Maokai's prioritize the Leandries.
Yeah, both tanks going AP there. You know, it's a win condition. You know, like you can definitely do a lot of work with those builds, but definitely not standing and just taking a lot of damage.
Yeah. It's going to prop you up in the side lane because you actually get to, interact with your opponent there. But you're right that on the objective, you are no longer that brick house. So it's a little bit more of a struggle.
But either way, Atakan hasn't been prioritized just yet. I was thinking that maybe KC just go for it straight away, but they're insisting on protecting this top tower. They want to keep themselves very much locked into this game with all these towers that they can keep, right? They still have their tier 1 mid. They still have their tier 1 top. They're looking for Velia now as well, who could be in a little bit of trouble here. The arrow going to be dodged, though, nicely. Exa not finding the mark.
That blue ward paying dividends there. I think that just saw it with plenty of time for Velia to just sidestep out, but otherwise would have locked onto his position. Midwave, Sivir, like, look, that's the Sivir gameplay experience. We just watched it right there. That minion wave didn't stand a chance. Plenty of money, and we'll deal with the champions later.
Pings, though, going to Atacon now. So it does look like KC going to start to mobilize down onto that bot lane. And to be fair, I don't think there's a lot that Ratones can do here. We're starting to see Velia walk down, but can't really go and check that out. They will trade it for a tower, so another tier 1 unlocked. A bit of pressure put mid as well.
It's a bit of gold. I think the experience will actually go a long way when you play the champions like Nidalee. And to a degree as well, your experience gain is not fantastic throughout the rest of the game because you want to be hovering off of sides. You don't necessarily want to be on a minion wave all the time or farming all the time. You want to be in position. You want to be trying to find that pick. They no longer have to sort of worry about that. So that has left everyone a level up except Ensa, who has also spent a lot of time lurking just off this mid wave, trying to set up and find an opportunity.
Yeah, and if we have a little look at the levels, Simple, right? Because I feel like the gold lead is one thing that we talked about, but now with that experience bonus as well, a level up in every single lane, right? And 2 in the jungle. You know, the only person that is down a level is Ensa, and that is 2 Reckless, which is obviously going to be the least like
Yeah, it's not going to make a huge
have.
difference.
Although,
Exa.
Flash on Exa is burned, and that will make a difference.
That's not a bad pickup at all. Didn't quite see if Bass flashed for that. His runes might just be favoring
TP.
The summoner spell cooldown. Oh, in it comes. It is main turn to mid lane.
And straight at them as well. And Ratones is not running away. There's the Magnastorm. 3 core, immediately 2 dead. And that is so much damage coming in from Soku. Baus trying to run away, will hook himself, but not to safety. Another kill. And KC are looking to end this game soon, Temporal.
The Rats have got all the range in their composition, but what is all the range to Ensa flashing forwards and dropping the Magnet Storm? A huge blender that does not end well, despite the wild growth, despite the Rats doing their best. It isn't enough. They're going to start to bleed some more towers and infrastructure here, and it's all Nemesis and Reckless can do. Just wander around, pick up some gold, and get ready to go again.
Tier 2 falling down. The gold influx going up for KCB. Baron going to be spawning very shortly as well. 1 minute until we get that. And I feel like if KCB locked that one in, Temporal, it is GG on to the next round.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge struggle. The Dragon being the soul for them as well. Next 5 minutes is going to be a lot of repeat fighting with the recalls coming through, with all the boot upgrade pickups, with the Seeker's Arm Guard for Isma still intact as well. It's a lot to overcome, and if the Rats manage it, that's fantastic, but it is the most uphill of battles.
And I got the question right. Okay, so we saw the last fight, we saw the rel, we saw the opening for KCB to just send it. How do Ratones avoid that? Because it does feel like they can't take that 5v5.
I think they got to start it on their own. I think you got to find exit kick. They got the flash in mid lane. We need the flash Nautilus R to match. That needs to come through. It needs to be direct access. Slow Q and Isma can do a lot from long range with the poke and with the setup. They don't have all the burst in the world.
We're getting another fight. Now Baus is the frontline target. Ensa is going to go down early. Now onto Mainta. They're switching the targets up, but Slowq is forcing them down towards the bottom side of the map and picking up kills already. The damage is dropping in, and they just don't have the stats. They don't have the items. Nemesis pushes Mainta so low, but does not die. With Reckless, we'll be able to stay alive. We'll be able to keep pressure high. However, it is still KCB taking it all. Baron is on the map and open.
2 for 1, only taking down Ensa there, and Crowny just exploded the moment Slow Q came forward. You can put up a spell shield, but that was too much damage for Sivir to deal with. I think the Rats are getting pulled around their 2 conditions. Do you defend the Sivir? Do you stand behind the Tristana? Who's getting which cooldown? This is a very high execution composition, and it's starting to stress them.
Oh, failure. Surely. Could he go for the steal? It's not going to have time. It will be the Baron picked up. KCB now actually going to find the Maokai. This could be a pick to end it all, really. They're going to pick that one, and now maybe they look for more. They're going into the top side jungle. Lost Ratones. They're in a weird spot here, Temporal. They're trying to run out. The KCB are hot on this chase. They want blood. They want to find them. They smell the end of this game sooner rather than later. Baus going to fall down, and more towers are near to come. The stun as well from downtown. Can they do anything with it? The stun's landing damage on top, and Slow Q absolutely obliterates Reckless.
Slow Q has had an incredible series. 0 deaths throughout. Stood up to Nemesis in lane. Something that is very, very hard to do for anyone at all. And with it, the base starts to break. Jay, it took ages to get through the base in game 1. I don't think it's going to take so long in game 2. Nemesis hooked in.
Does not look likely. Nemesis going to go down immediately. Tower falling, in-hip falling, mid-tower falling as well. 2 towers holding on strong, but for how long? Temporal, Velia and Crowny, they can't keep tabs on it. Another tower falls. The minions, they're slamming forward. The damage is raining in. There isn't anything the Rats can do right now but scurry, because at the moment, KCB, they're in a flurry. They're moving forward. They're looking for the end. 1 more inhib down. 1 tower and a Nexus is all they need to take. The Rats with a big knock-up. Can they do the damage? In goes Rel. Down goes Ratones. And it will be KCB moving on through.
They will make it to the next round of the tournament. Congratulations, Karmine Corp Blue. That was a fantastic series. I think bit easier in the second. I think the Rats
yeah.
tried to reach for some